In this video, I will be demonstrating how to divide fractions using visual models, how to divide fractions, and divide fractions by whole numbers, using the standard algorithm as well. Let's go ahead and divide fractions visually. I'm Dr. D, and welcome to Math with Dr. D. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know if I deserve an A+. We're going to go ahead and try drawing some visual models for when we divide fractions. Remember that when we're dividing, we're seeing how many groups of one number can fit into another. Let's take a look at our first problem. Our divisor is 1/4, and we're dividing into our dividend, which is 3. In other words, how many 1/4 can I fit into 3? I'm going to begin by drawing a visual model. Think about sharing 3 sandwiches and cutting each sandwich into fourths. The total number of pieces I have is the quotient, or the answer. So every whole was cut into fourths. That means I have 4, 8, and 12. 3 divided by 1/4 is 12. When I divide a whole number by a fraction, my quotient is bigger. But my pieces are definitely smaller. Let's try another one. This time I'm going to divide 2/3 into 2. In other words, how many 2/3 can fit into 2? Let's draw a visual model again to represent the situation. This time I'm sharing 2 sandwiches. And perhaps each person that I'm sharing with is going to get 2/3 of a sandwich. So let's see how many 2/3 are in 2. Here's one group of 2/3, 2 groups of 2/3, and 3 groups of 2/3. There are 3 groups of 2/3 in 2. Let's see what happens when I divide a fraction by another fraction. This time, I'm dividing 1/4 into a half. So if I have 1/2, as shown here, 1/2, and I'm dividing it by 1/4, I can see that I have 2 groups of 1/4 into 1/2. So 1/2 divided by 1/4 equals 2. Another way to think of this is I can look at my first fraction, 1/2, and make it an equivalent fraction. That means I'll have the same denominator for both fractions. 1/2 is equal to 2/4. Now I can see that there are 2 2/4 in 1/2. Awesome. Let's try another one. This time I'm dividing a whole number into a fraction. So when 1/2 is divided into 3 groups, how large is each group? Let's make an illustration. Here's 1/2, and I'm dividing it into 3 groups. So each group, as you can see here, I have a total of 6 parts. And there is 1/6 in each group. Amazing. Hopefully you can see that dividing fractions means how many times that fraction can fit into another number. But you may have also noticed that when I'm dividing fractions, I'm also going to be multiplying by the reciprocal. And this is only possible with getting a common denominator. The algorithm makes it easier for us to understand that you multiply by the reciprocal because it's equivalent to dividing, and it allows us to simplify the problem by turning division into multiplication. So let's take a look at our steps for dividing fractions with the algorithm. We're going to keep the first fraction. We're going to change division to multiplication. And again, it is mathematically equivalent because it allows us to simplify the problem. And we'll be flipping our second fraction. In other words, we're going to be changing this fraction to the reciprocal. And we'll be flipping the numerator and the denominator. So 1/12 becomes 12 over 1. We keep our first fraction. And now we're just multiplying fractions, and we can simplify. 4 times 12 is 48, and 5 times 1 is 5. Our answer is 48/5, which we can change into a mixed number. How many fifths can fit into 45? Well, I know 5 times 9 is 45, and I have 3 left over out of 5. So it's 9 3/5. Let's try the algorithm again. Keep the first fraction. Change division to multiplication. And multiply by the reciprocal. Or flip the numerator and denominator. We can also simplify before we multiply. In this case, 4 and 6 are both divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide 4 and 6 by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then I'll just multiply across. And my answer is 10 because it's 5 times 2. And 3 times 3 is 9. 10 over 9, which is 1 1/9. In this last problem, I have some mixed numbers. So before I keep change flip, I need to change my mixed numbers to improper fractions. We do that by simply thinking about how we can change this whole number and fraction into an improper fraction. We'll change it all to thirds. How many thirds are in 5? That's 15, because 3 times 5 is 15. Adding the one more third is 16 thirds. And then we'll change our second fraction. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 7 is 23 over 8. And again, we keep, we change, and we flip. And let's go ahead and do some mental math. 6 times 8 is 48, and 8 times 1 is 80. 80 plus 48 is 128. And let's go ahead and multiply 3 times 23. 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 2 is 6. So it's 69. 69 over 128. Let's change this to a mixed number. I know I can't fit two groups of 69, so it'll be one group of 69, and the difference is, let's see. One and 59/69. You did it.